Okay. At this point, the Athena had 32 views, 1 comment, 3 likes.
Okay. Yeah, that's about where I was going, about maybe 30, 40-ish views, somewhere around there.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's roughly what I would have expected, I think.
All right, I guess I'll start recording here if you're ready.
Yep, I've already fired up my recording, so good to go.
Okay. Recording has started. Go ahead and start us off, please.
Damn it. Back when I was drinking something.
And that's gonna have to be edited out. Thanks for that.
No, you can leave that in, it's fine.
Okay.
I don't mind the quote-unquote human touches, I guess. But anyway, yeah, since I'm starting. Hello there, everyone. This is I am Mark 3 and Damaddok 82. We're coming at you with another one of our bi-monthly craft reviews. And today we have something called the Predator. Would you care to say hello and tell us about it a little bit, please, Dama?
Yes. Hello, guys. Damaddok82 here. This is the Predator. I'm sorry. Let me restart that. AV-24 Predator. The description that iPersons gave us, he's the builder of this craft. Light but lethal and highly maneuverable, dodges most cram and APS runs with ease, armed with a variable charge EMP PAC and 2 10-meter large HE missiles. It does have shields and missile decoys as well as missile interceptors. He says it's a light rotary gunship, and his preferred targets are multi-purpose with anti-surface focus, fire support. I'm assuming that's kind of the role he intended for this.
Yeah.
His special instructions here says not the greatest idea to fight against laser craft, which that kind of goes for any kind of aircraft. You know, you fight stuff with lasers. Or heavily armed missile craft works great as a support craft. I could definitely see this doing that. It can spoof most missiles, but has issues when said missiles re-engage it. So yeah, it's set to hover about 100 meters or so. So yeah, I actually really like the aesthetic that he's done with this so far. It almost kind of makes me think of these rotary, or the Deddy blades here in the center of the wings. It almost kind of reminds me of some of the sci-fi movies that I've seen. I think Matrix had something kind of similar to what he has designed here. I can't quite remember.
It's reminding me of something. I do like how it looks. I would argue it's actually more of a fighter jet than a gunship.
But we haven't necessarily seen how it behaves in combat yet.
Behavior is separate. I'm talking about how it looks, honestly.
Oh, okay.
And I was just doing a quick Google search, and what it reminds me of is the F-69 VTOL from Saints Row. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's where he got it from. And I am somewhat familiar with Saints Row, but not specifically that design in general.
To be fair, there's not a lot of similarities actually. Now that I've looked it up, it's just that the Saints Row VTOL also had 2 side turbines built into it, but they're in the chassis rather than the wings, which were folding swept wings. But yeah, it reminded me of it at least.
He has a single shield here in the front set to 10. I'm assuming just to cover the front of this, try to reduce some of that incoming APS coming at it. Oh wait, he's got some more here in the sides of the aircraft.
I think it's also like so it can turn towards a target and still have the protection. I suspect. Are these things ACV
clever things with the spin plugs here too for the wings?
I know, yeah. Just look at these things. I really like the engine design, honestly. Well, the
yes,
wing
very
ones.
compact, very neat. Though I imagine that this probably runs a little hot, and he probably loses a bit of efficiency when this thing is in combat. But considering the size of this craft, that probably can't be helped too much.
In combat, though, you'd rather have power than efficiency any day.
Exactly.
Have power when you need it, rather than when you don't. Yeah, that's a very compact fuel engine. I was very surprised, honestly, when you said from the description that it has a pack in it. But
yeah, I was as well. I haven't really had a chance to look at these craft until we start recording on them, but that's kind of how we agreed to do them, so we could have a fairly honest reaction when we do these.
I started looking when you mentioned it, and I saw a laser barrel on the front. I guessed it was a decoration there. But, yeah.
I was going to say that's probably mimicked over. But
yeah, it's a short-range lens up front.
Nice. Yeah, it does EMP damage. Pack is potentially nasty depending on how it's set up. iPersons is a pretty competent builder, so I'd imagine it packs quite a wallop.
No, honestly. But then again, it's an EMP type, so it doesn't need to pack that much of a wallop compared to other types. So there is that. Every 3 seconds. It is built for a short range, of course. Don't know what the exact range is.
So it's just more of a harassing weapon that probably just meant to disable things that are controlled by EMP, or that could be easily knocked out by EMP.
Yeah, it's just like pepper it, knock out some stuff. It's actually not got a range set in the weapon controller on it. So it will fire at any range as long as it's pointing at the target. Well, actually it's got a fairly wide arc on it as well, so...
I really like what he did with the mimics here for the cockpit. I might have to borrow that.
I'm not even sure what that is, actually.
I know that the ends are, I believe, 360-degree sonars, and I think the centerpiece is just like a 2-meter metal pole. But from a distance, where you can't really see the textures on it, it looks amazing.
I thought it was a single piece, so I was guessing it was something from the fuel refinery system, but it didn't look quite right. So, there's the AI.
I found the missile interceptors. They are on the ends of the wings.
Is this a custom AI?
You know what? It wouldn't be surprised me. iPersons make some pretty advanced designs. I'm not too breadboard savvy myself, but
no. It's it is a point at AI, but he's renamed it in the behavior section to Romeo Foxtrot Shall We Dance.
Okay.
I didn't know you could do that. And yeah, 6-axis movement and hover movement. So yeah, it seems to have switching AI modes, I'm guessing.
I think I've seen Dell from Dell's Gaming do a video on how to do something like that. It was quite interesting. He's got like 4 PIDs in here.
Yeah, I mean, a small craft, it's got a lot of power on it in terms of thrust, so it would need the stability control.
Yeah, it looks like he was going for as compact a design as he could get on this.
And full credit, he has managed that. Though it's also why he said no lasers, please. This thing would be gutted by
I perfectly understand that. I mean, you don't want to send like a custom jet engine planes that take on something like, I don't know, the Lightning Hoods or the Scarlet Dawn, if you can help it.
No, I mean, like a single powerful laser shot would just gut this thing from front to back.
But I think against early game designs, this thing would be very beastly.
No doubt.
The price is probably where you, if you're patient enough, you could probably get this spawned in right at the start of Quest for Neater, if you can wait it out.
Yeah, that's not bad at all, is it? I'm just going to unlatch it for a sec.
Yeah, let's see how it behaves. I think it has a slight nose down. Yep, there it goes. It's got some pretty good control there. It's really smooth. You don't see a lot of stuttering or anything like that. It just moves very calmly.
Admittedly, it does drift, but I think that's just inherent with how
the
spin blocks are set in the side, the lifting thrust, which is very well done, by the way.
I see iPersons does one of the things that I do, and that's turn off the thrust particle effect from jet thrusters. That seems way too much to me at times.
It'd be nice if there was some kind of option set for that. I don't mean like the on-off. I mean like you can adjust how the particle effect looks. That would have been a good addition.
I think you can to a degree, but I haven't really tinkered with it much myself. I usually just shut it off altogether.
No, I mean like flame size, maybe a different kind of flame, you know, like how far it goes. Is it really, really big and takes up the entire engine, or is it like really needle thin? You know, that kind of stuff.
And we got flares all over this thing, it looks like.
Yeah, that's, this thing seems to really like active defense. Understandable, considering it doesn't want to get hit.
And it does have the passive radar here on the front, but it is a little bit limiting with the passive radar. I mean, but he does have pretty good munition warning setup all over this thing. So
passive
it looks like
radar.
Yeah, passive radar is over on the left-hand side of it.
Oh, right. I see it. I think that's just there for initial detection purposes.
I'm not entirely sure if this bit here is like spin block that's in front of it, or if it's like mimicked or what, but I'm assuming it's probably spin blocked. And something else that we should probably note here is it looks like his thrusters here are set up on what I assume to be some kind of spin block where they rotate like this. It's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, he's taking advantage of how you can set the spin block rotation speed nowadays, which is quite nice. And
seems like they only rock forwards and backwards, which that's completely fine. Hey, he did a lot of work trying to hide the beams that come up to the center of this thing, to help the Deady blades and the forward and backwards like this.
Oh, there's the other spin blocks. I was wondering where the wings were actually attached, and they're just behind the medium missiles.
Yep. Has a pretty good aesthetic. Looks like it functions pretty well. Do we want to try a quick Marauder test on this?
Of course. We've got to get the punching bag out.
Oh yeah.
Just want to look at these missiles really quickly. He's got main armament, dropped as a bomb, active radar, explosive, APN, signal processors. So yeah, these things don't turn very quickly, but it's like this thing is meant to point at its target anyway.
Also, judging by the missiles, he was expecting this to go up against some rather slow and heavily armored targets. If I had to,
yeah, that would explain the quick-firing nature of the EMP pack as well. It would be better against a big, heavily armored target. But as I said, it's like multi-purpose, anti-surface focus.
There's our obligatory Marauder testing.
Yeah, he did warn us. Set the altitude to around 100. Can you make sure the Marauder's not shooting at us, please, while I do that?
Yes.
I wasn't sure what he meant, honestly, but it's like, you know.
That's something I noticed that it did when I first pulled it in, is it seemed to nose directly into the water like that. Something like that shouldn't be too hard to fix, though.
I'm just adjusting the minimum altitude.
Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and turn off its weapons as well, so...
Yeah, there you go. Increasing the minimum altitude makes it correct a bit more aggressively.
Okay. So let's bring the weapons back online. There goes that pack. It did, like, It did.
Well, remember, wooden marauders are a really bad target for a pack usually.
Yes.
Well, an EMP pack.
Watching that EMP surge go through it.
Yeah, it'll burn out the side guns. Burn out the side guns and then it'll be done. Oh. Missiles pack a punch though.
I could see this doing fairly good against the Onyx Watch and quite possibly the Dustwind Gypsies, maybe Steel Striders, depending on what designs you go up against.
He said no lasers. Do we have something light with missiles as to use as our next target?
Light with missiles.
Yeah, I want something coming in so that it can demonstrate its AMS. I'm wondering if it's like purely defensive or if it's meant to try and avoid it.
I can't think of any light craft off the top of my head, but maybe the Iron Cordon might be a good choice.
There's a couple of deep water guard types that have it. Actually, let me check a second. Yes, it does have projectile avoidance set in its AI, so it will try to dodge stuff.
But yeah, we probably need something a little more beefy than a Marauder to test this on. Just wanted to see how it behaved initially. That was my thought on that. So yeah, if the Marauder is dead, I guess we could try bringing something up. Oh, no, we're still waiting on it to die. Okay.
I feel like this thing is meant to operate in groups. It says like multi-purpose, but fire support is also one of its preferred features, and fire support means, you know, you have something else involved. Because it feels like it does have some hard-hitting weaponry, but it doesn't actually have much by way of like DPS, you know?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't spawn this in alone unless it was like very, very early game, but
even then, I would prefer something with more damage dealing, like because earlier on you're normally against like large numbers of lighter targets, which this thing is not really kitted out to fight against.
What about a paddle gun?
That's mass projectile fire.
Wouldn't that be kind of what we're looking for here?
I meant like missiles.
Okay.
Projectiles, faster, smaller. Yeah, we can try it and see what it does.
Well, do you have a craft in mind?
I do not, and I can't actually access the enemy spawning menu because I'm a client.
Okay, then I'll see if...
Oh wait, no, yes I can, sorry. I don't know why I thought that. I blame it on being a bit out of sorts. Right. Wasn't there...
Actually, I think I'll just drop an Iron Cordon for the moment, if that's a... Well, no, that'd take forever to kill, though.
True.
But that's the only thing I can think of off the top of my head that's got somewhat decent missiles.
No, we don't want decent missiles. It's just like some missiles to see how it acts.
How about a good old crossbones?
Sure. If it's got missiles.
Because it doesn't have missiles, but it does have a lot of other weapon systems, APS, CRAM, things like that. It looks like it's just now trying to get to its intended distance.
You spawned it in friendly.
Right. I keep forgetting that crap. Okay, let's try this garbage again.
Still though, I do really like how this thing looks and functions. It's kind of the kind of craft I would build, honestly. Oh, now I've got...
Yeah. Maybe we ought to just restart it. So we don't have to wait for these guys to kill each other.
Well, I've got the anti-aircraft guns focusing on the Predator.
Okay.
They may be exploding nearby. The Predator's not actually taking any damage yet.
Yeah, for the most part, it seems like a lot of those shots are really struggling to get close.
That's one of the other things about this thing. It's actually got a very narrow target profile from the front, so it's hard to track properly.
No, we just lost a few blocks. And that was just off the tail.
It's still saying it's at 100%.
Very tough little plane. I've been kind of hesitant to try the new wing parts myself because I just been concerned that they might be too flimsy.
Wing parts?
I've just always used like regular full-size blocks to do wings for the longest time.
Oh, these are regular full-size blocks on his wings.
No. I mean on the tail portion.
Oh, right. Oh, I see. I didn't actually look. Yeah, I didn't spot that. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe like a small squadron of these with a larger force that it could support. I could see this doing really good.
Yeah, wolf pack against high-value enemy ships.
Mm-hmm.
Multiplies the missiles for damage, multiplies the EMP shots for disabling.
Yeah, if you just have a big fat distraction for everything to shoot at, well, this thing kind of picks them apart. I think that's a very good combination.
It would be, yeah. One thing I will mention actually that I don't quite like. Have you noticed the rear jets?
What about them?
Well, the ones that aren't functional. I mean, how they clip together. There's a few blocks clipping through if you look closely at them.
Yeah.
So I think
saw that.
I would suggest revisiting and adjusting the decoration work there a little bit.
Yeah, he probably could do some work with decorations to try to clean that up a little bit better. Maybe use like, I don't know, maybe like a 3-meter boiler, put it over the top of that and extend those exhaust back a little bit, like clean it up a little nice. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing ideas here.
Yeah, I just think it's sorry. I just think those decorative exhausts might want a bit of a look because of how they clip together at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, though, it still looks like a really good craft.
I would like to see how this would do going up against something with missiles, though.
Yeah, might want to restart the designer then to get our hands on that.
Okay, I'll go ahead and end the match, and we'll restart this.
Receiving.
Alright, loading the Predator back in.
Killed the starting platform.
Yeah, it's going back in the water, but it hasn't had its altitude adjusted yet. There we go.
Yeah, and it only just came in as well. Actually, since that seems to be a known issue, I would suggest actually changing that on the blueprint as well.
I agree.
85 just doesn't seem to be enough. Last time I had it set to 120 actually rather than the 100 suggested. Didn't seem to be affecting it any. Actually, when it points at it, goes for a combat altitude of 130. So maybe it's just because it tilts aggressively to get close to a target when it actually gets into combat. That might be the issue here.
I'm thinking try a paddle gun next.
Sure, go for it.
Okay. Paddle gun usually has a pretty good assortment of missiles and APS. It looks like it's resisting the damage pretty well though, but that's probably because he's got some butterfly shielding on the front of this.
Yeah, I just saw some shots deflecting off the shielding.
Mm-hmm.
Admittedly, you did have to get strength 10 to get good use out of that, but
yeah,
his craft does have enough power
for
to
the
support
whole
it.
40%, but I won't go into that because that's a rather short topic.
It's still 40% that doesn't hit, so you know.
Now, what's the price tag on these? Yeah, it's probably roughly about the same price, and it kills it pretty damn well from what it looks like. I wonder if you would consider doing a torpedo-based version of this.
I'd like to see a light missile air superiority type.
You do like them small missiles.
I really do like the small missiles, yes. And I'm not ashamed to say it.
Yeah, it seemed like it did a very good job of dodging the fire coming in from that paddle gun there. So yeah, I'd say this.
Didn't get hurt either.
Yeah, and moving at 81 meters a second, that's pretty good for a gunship.
To be fair though, the modern paddle gun is a shadow of its former self.
That is true. I just couldn't think of anything better to test it against, and it was about roughly in the same price range. So.
I remember when it was actually really, really dangerous.
Oh, I remember people were terrified of it.
Yeah, it's
that
like,
and the what was it? The coffin nails. You remember them?
Oh, yes. Killed a couple of fleets of mine, those did. Back when I was a new player. Paddle gun did too, actually.
I remember the most terrifying thing always being the Barracuda, because it launches those super Tweeties. It seems like everyone I've seen on YouTube had a problem with those.
Which one was the Barracuda?
The one that had all of those. It's like a helicarrier. It has like a bunch of smaller craft. They used like cram bombs.
Oh, actually I think...
Tortuga's kind of like that too, but it actually is a ship, so...
I think the only times I've ever come up against the Barracuda, I've never actually had any trouble with it. Oddly.
Yeah, if you're prepared for it and you have a decent anti-aircraft system, you're fine. But
I never knew it was coming though.
A lot of people come against it unprepared.
And, I think I ran into it after I became a lot more paranoid about this game. That's fair to say.
So do you have any other comments you'd like to make on this?
I really like it. And iPersons... Most people feel big, large, pack more features into it, but this is a good example of what you can do with a small crafts if you specialize and pare it down. So it's a good
Honestly,
build.
it kind of reminds me of my Hatred Copter gunship, but he uses way bigger DACA than I did.
Yeah, this is a mark of someone who's really tried to focus on getting a small craft to do it what he wants it to do.
He did really good with getting his anti-missile systems working on this too. I usually rely on flares, but I might have to try something similar to this in the future.
Yeah, I mean, he's got flares, he's got anti-missile direct interception, he's got projectile avoidance on basically a hover platform. It's just styled like a jet, but it's not actually a jet, so... Maybe you could work that function into it, make it into a proper jet plane as well as everything else.
It would make an interesting fighter, I think.
It really would.
With these large missiles, he could potentially have it be a bomber. Or a fighter bomber, even.
I think there's one more thing we should do for this test.
Oh, what's that?
5 of these against the Kingstead.
I think we could do that, yeah.
I mean, we must see what a pack of these does against a bigger ship.
Yes, I agree. So I'll... How about, do you have the design saved?
Actually, how about I save this one? Because this one's got the height adjusted in it.
Yeah, that's why I was asking it. Yeah, if you could save that design, pop in like 4 more of them before I bring in a Kingstead, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, must admit, Kingstead's not really built to deal with aircraft, but recent versions of it do have anti-aircraft guns. So, you know.
Yeah. Just let me know when you're ready.
Give me a second.
I'm spawning them back about 2 kilometers.
This will also be good to show like how well they cooperate, or if they're just going to slam into each other.
Funny thing about From the Depths, though, if there was ever a good excuse to learn the metric system, From the Depths would be it. Okay, I think we had one going to the water, Ion.
We did, yeah. I'm just getting a full group of 5 in.
I think it's just from them starting up their engines, they just don't have enough power at first.
Actually, that's not an issue because it's fuel engines, unless it's the PIDs taking time to react.
That could be it too, actually.
It might also have been the collision avoidance kicking in. But yeah, they are doing just fine dodging each other, so, you know.
Okay. So we're ready for the Kingstead?
We are ready for a Kingstead. Predators hunting the Great Metal Beast.
Okay, Captain Ahab.
Now she blows.
Call me Ishmael. I never read the book.
I might suggest having fire restrictions on the main missiles, actually, because they are firing way off target when the enemy's first spotted. It's a waste of missile.
Usually I set my missiles on aircraft like in a 40-degree cone directly in front of the aircraft.
Yeah, but this one, the Predators fired its missiles even when pointing straight away from its target.
I was for sure certain that there were two of them that were going to collide there, and they completely missed. So far, I'm rather impressed.
Yeah, you see what I mean about the how nimble they are.
Yes, quite the ballet he's got going on here. I wouldn't try doing this with my stuff, that's for sure. I tried spawning in like several of my Death Harmonic biplane fighter bombers, and yeah, like you'd always have one that like smacked another one. It just seemed like it's completely unavoidable, but these things, they dance around each other just fine.
The Kingstead is also having a very bad time.
Yeah, there was some pretty heavy block damage here.
Yeah, but the thing is, the guns that haven't been blown up mostly have been knocked out by the EMP shots.
I'm wondering though if it might be worth it if he would just take one of these large missiles and have it use like frag instead.
Yeah, you mean like
have a little bit of variance?
One HE, one frag, or
yeah,
multi-warhead missiles.
That could potentially work too, but I prefer to concentrate my damage type into one projectile instead of many.
I prefer to do that when I've got plenty of projectiles to spare. But if it's like only a couple of projectiles, then I'd prefer to go multi-warhead instead, if I'm going to do that.
So personal preference is what I'm getting here.
Yeah. I mean, there's good points and bad points either way.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Kingstead's not even returning fire much, really, is it?
All the weapons that are facing towards the gunships are pretty much gone.
Yeah, so shows that this design does work well in a group.
Oh yeah, this thing would curb stomp a lot of Onyx Watch designs, I'd imagine. Probably would struggle against larger missiles, like something from Iron Cordon.
The thing is, larger missiles often sacrifice turning ability, and this thing does actively try to dodge if there's something coming at it.
Well, then maybe that might be worth testing.
Maybe. I feel like we're bullying the Kingstead now.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit.
But these are like, what, about 50k per aircraft, and a Kingstead is what, like 300-400k?
Yeah, that's still like a fair bit higher than what.
I must be thinking of the Bulwark, but
maybe.
Yeah.
Let me just check.
Kingstead is
328.
Yeah. So these things are actually cheaper, and they're just pounding the shit out of it.
Yeah, these things are like about 78,000 less materials to deploy in this number.
Mm-hmm.
Kingstead, though, didn't really stand a chance against it. Mainly because Kingstead's cost is in its crams, mostly.
Very well could be. Okay. Do we have any other tests or any other comments we'd like to make?
No, I think we've covered everything. I mean, it's a decent design. The only thing we've not done is like see how it dodges a large missile coming straight at it, but...
We could do that real quick and call it a video. But we have to probably reset the server again.
Yeah, we will, because the Kingstead's still taking its time to die. So, yeah, go ahead and reset it.
Okay. Just want to make sure I coordinate that with you, because...
I was in the middle of saying something. Oh no, where'd the game go?
Exactly. Alright, just go ahead and spawn it in whenever you're ready, and I'll bring in an iron cordon.
Yeah, it doesn't take any time at all to sort itself out. So engine ramp time isn't the issue.
That's something though that I kind of ran into every now and then when I was developing, or when we were developing that big airship, the Thor Odinson.
Oh, that was a good dodge of missiles there. So the flare pulled them away as well, but it was moving away out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
was that a missile?
Yeah. One of the decoy missiles came back.
You can only dodge so many, Ion.
Nope, 0 out of 10. Predator was a bad design. Got took out by a stray missile. No, it's.
I think with as many heavy, or how many missiles this thing has, I'd like to think it did okay there for a while, dancing in between them. So.
Yeah, but, I mean that kind of volley, it wouldn't be able to stop them, and the decoys didn't distract them for long enough.
No.
It did, however, avoid the initial volley. So if there was more anti-missile defense available, like other vehicles.
We should also keep in mind that in a combat setting, there would probably be a hell of a lot more crowd fighting in Iron Cordon than just this.
Yeah,
single larger aircraft.
Yeah, the Iron Cordon would probably prioritize a much bigger target than this little thing.
Especially since it probably uses radar or IR guided missiles. Actually, I never really checked to see, to be honest.
What, the Iron Cordon?
Yeah, if it uses radar or IR guided missiles.
If it was me, I'd mix them. But that's just how I do it.
Well, I think we're at a good stopping point here. If there's anything else you'd like to add, Ian.
No, that's it. If
Okay.
you're looking for a solid small design for fleet support duties, get this thing. It's pretty nice.
Yes, it is up on the Steam Workshop, and I think I'll go ahead and post a link to it once I get this video uploaded, so you guys can download it and play with it yourselves.
Yeah, same on my side. You'll find a link for this thing's Steam Workshop page in the description. Not the Iron Cordon, the Predator.
Yeah.
Yeah.